Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's Keptn Community and Developer Meeting. It's March 25th, and we again have a couple of things to show and to discuss. As always, we're following the CNCF Code of Conduct. Please be nice to each other, but you are, as always, I guess. And so for today, I just want to start with the action items that actually came out from the last meeting, and I believe they're still in progress. We decided to also include the spell check for the spell check bot that Josh has presented in the last meetings, also for the Keptn documentation and the Keptn tutorials. I think this is not yet done, so we probably need to keep it as an action item also for next week. Or is there any update on this?
There is no update on that one, but this week we noticed that at some point this spell checker is a little bit, I don't want to say annoying, but it's brings up too many advices, so to say, and we decided to change it and to just use it for the documentation and to the really written documents and not to the code. This is what we want to change.
Okay, but basically this holds still true. Since
this is still true.
We have to enable this, and the other part is basically to it's a bit too verbose, so we will kind of limit the functionality before to fit our needs. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It depends a little bit. I think it makes much more sense if you only inspect, so to say, the strings which eventually end up in the output to the user in the source code, to only take this part into consideration. But we need to clarify with Josh if this is doable, if we can tweak spell check like to do such things. So I would not say let's turn it completely off, but let's see if we can relax it a little bit, only considering strings and output statements. Maybe it works.
Should we put it here as an action item, or is there an issue on the
I'm currently creating an issue. I will send it to you later on. It's not
cool.
Finished.
Actually, I think we should also, if we put this into an issue, we can then remove it from this agenda and don't have to carry it on. Probably we can do it until next week and then present how the I think especially for these two parts, for the documentation and tutorials, it would make a lot of sense. Yeah, thanks everyone that is also joining in from the community. Please just add your names. Hi Raj, great to also see you here. Then I want to give a shout out to Gabriel. He just released a blog post on this, and let me just close my slide so we don't put this here. A great blog post on how to do modern continuous delivery on Kubernetes. So it's really developer focused. It's actually really kind of a hands-on blog post. So if you're interested in it, I put the link in here. And next step is probably also to have this kind of a tutorial where you can use the Potato Head application and then learn how to deploy the Potato Head in a multi-stage deployment with Keptn with quality gates added. So that's pretty cool. And with that, I'm already handing over. Since I'm also excited about the Keptn, about the latest Keptn release. Yeah, please take it away. I'm not sure who is taking over here. But,
well,
yeah,
I added this link, but it's just a summary of what have been done the last 4 weeks, and I don't want to talk too much because it's the stage for the people that did the work. I was just writing the release notes and not doing the implementation. But thanks for having it open right now. Yeah, it provides you a high-level summary of what you get with 0.8.1. Just let me pick the key announcements, which are support for creating a secret using the Keptn API or CLI, and this is built on top of Kubernetes. This means that we leverage Kubernetes there to store the secrets then. Then really cool enhancements in the bridge. As you can see here, the environment screen, got the capability to show you which sequences got triggered. And you can also now add a display name for your SLOs so that you have then a more human readable SLO names, which makes it more friendlier to look at. And this is what the last announcement I want to point out is that with this new bridge and new version, we also provide a mock-up for how we envision the Keptn uniform should look like. As when you follow Keptn, you may have heard this term for the one or other time. And the Keptn uniform is the concept of the services that are executing tasks and doing their job as part of their sequence. And in the future, we need a way to show you in the UI where the services live, whether they are healthy or not, and which subscriptions do they have. And with this release, we want to provide you a mock that just gives you an idea how this can be implemented. And we would like to get your feedback to also then make enhancements in this regard. And to open this mock, you just have to add, or to go you go to a project in your bridge, and then you just add ff minus uniform, and this brings you then to the mockup. All right, and I think I will stop now because I see that others want to show their features and implementations that they did, and we'll hand over to the next in the list.
All right, thank you. Let me just share my screen. All right, today I want to show you two pull requests. Both are related to two services that live in the Keptn contrib organization. So the first one is the Dynatrace Service. And this pull request was about establishing feature parity with previous versions that were based on the previous Keptn version, so 0.7. So the Dynatrace service provided a couple of features that were only compatible with that previous Keptn version, but not with 0.8 yet, and that has been addressed with that pull request. So in essence, what has been added in the Dynatrace service is now a better support for the auto remediation use case. So basically what the Dynatrace service is now able to do is it will subscribe to action.triggered, action.started, and action.finished events, and will then post comments to the correlating problem in Dynatrace that actually kicked off the remediation use case. So if and that allows the user to get a better insight in what is happening in the scope of the problem that was detected by Dynatrace. So if you look at that screenshot, we have the problem page that basically highlights the impacted service. And down below, we see that Keptn, or the Dynatrace service, pushes comments to the problem in order to provide an easy way to keep track of what's happening actually during the remediation. So basically here we see that a certain remediation action has been started or triggered. Then if the remediation action has been executed successfully, and also the result, and afterwards the service will also be subscribed to the evaluation finished events, and will detect if an evaluation finished event has been related to a problem. And if that's the case, it will also comment the result of the evaluation to the comment. All right, are there any questions about that new feature? All right, if not, let's continue with the second service. So this is about the Dynatrace Sli service. Also here, we basically released 3 versions that have been compatible only with Keptn 0.7, and here I also worked on establishing feature parity with the version that is compatible with Keptn 0.8. And this, maybe to get a better overview of what has been introduced here is, yeah, let's have a look at the release notes of those 3 intermediate versions. So let's start here. So with version 0.71, the Dynatrace Sli service also introduced support for Dynatrace service level objectives and the correlating API for that. So now you're also able to retrieve the values for service level objectives that you have created in your Dynatrace tenant. Also, what the service is now able to do if it fetches or certain metrics in the context of an auto remediation, it will not only fetch the metrics that are referenced in the SLO.YAML, but also in addition, if it runs in an auto remediation context, it will also fetch the number of open problems that are currently open for the correlating service that the auto remediation is performed for. And this will also then be returned as an SLI value. All right. Other than that, you may have, if you have used the service in the past, you may have noticed that it also has the feature of generating your SLI values and the SLOs via a Dynatrace dashboard. So what that allows you to do, if you don't want to use the SLO.YAML and SLI.YAML files for defining the service level objectives and the queries for the indicators, maybe, for example, if you don't like YAML that much, you could also use the Dynatrace dashboard feature and create a set of tiles that follow a certain naming scheme in order to define which service level indicators should be fetched and how they should be evaluated. And with this intermediate version, additional support for additional dashboard types have been introduced. So now you're also able to reference a dashboard, a SLO tile. So that's a new type of tile in the dashboard. And also the Data Explorer tile can now be used in order to generate the SLIs. So using this kind of tile, you can generate a custom chart time series and then use the information from that to include it in your evaluations. All right. Other than that, a couple of fixes and better error logging have also been introduced. So that's now also part of this new upcoming version that will be released in the next 2 days. All right. Any questions about that? If not, I will hand over to Ermin.
Thank you very much. I want to present a rather small pull request or improvement in the bridge, since mainly bug fixes have been done. But one nice enhancement here is we now also show the evaluation result on the root event next to the stage information. And let's have a look at the issue that we had here, or how it was requested. Previously, we showed the stages this sequence went through and also indicated the result. So you saw here red or green or orange based on the evaluation, or if there are some problems. For example, if something happened, it was indicated in red, but you had not the result immediately here, but you have to click inside this stage, this sequence, and to see the details. And now with this pull request, in this overview tile, we show the stages this sequence went through, and also include the evaluation result that was provided in this stage next to this stage info. So you see the color, and you also see the result, so to say the score of this evaluation that was executed in this stage. Yeah, that's actually what I wanted to present here. Of course, I can also, I always have a live demo here present. So now when you see your sequences, and also in the service screen, when you'll have a look at the executions here, you see already in the overview what happened here. And for example, this is a good example. Here I have a deployment that failed in staging, and yeah, it didn't make it to production in this case. Or for example, here we have a good version of my cards service, and because of the good result in staging, it's deployed in production. Yeah. Are there any questions from the community? Or if not, if there are no questions regarding this feature and the bridge, I'm handing over to Bernd.
Thank you. So just one moment. So we'll make it a little bit bigger, probably. Okay, in the
Even
upcoming...
a little bit bigger, it's still very small. Yeah, thank you.
Good. Yeah, in the upcoming version of Keptn, we will have a new service. It's called the Secret Service. And this one will actually provide an API to create or delete secrets in the system. Why do we need this? In the end, we want an abstraction for creating secrets, which shall work for different kind of backends. For example, you want to create secrets in a vault system, or you want to create secrets natively on Kubernetes, and potentially also other secret systems which are out there. So there was a discussion going on GitHub, and basically, if you're interested, you can of course read it. Or there was a final proposal then in the end, how such a secret API can look like as a first version. So it is not really that interesting from an API point of view. Basically, it's just yeah, they are just CRUD operations where you can create, update, or delete secrets in the system. The interesting part is that the service which is taking over this responsibility, the secret service, shall be implemented to support different types of backends. In the end, it should be configurable via environment variables, where you just put in the type of backend you want to use. For example, if you have an already existing vault and there's a backend implementation for this one, you can choose it via this environment variable backend type. In the first version, only the Kubernetes backend type is supported, but they're eventually coming more than if needed. So that's the default. Kubernetes, if you just start the service, it will use that backend. as usual, a secret consists of key value pairs and is bound to a scope. We will take a look at that a little bit later, what that means. But here are the CRUD operations. Of course, you can create a secret, update the secrets, or delete the secrets. For now, getting a sequence where this API is not implemented, I will come to that also later, how you can actually make use of the secret that you are creating via this API. But yeah, as you can see here, the endpoint will be secrets/version number, then secret. And if you post there a specific payload, for example, this one is a little secret which has a name, a scope, and a data block which consists of key value pairs. So nothing special here. You can create it this way, update it that way, and also delete it then via query strings. So you say, please delete the secret with that name in scope Keptn, for example. Maybe let's jump to how to use that one. I will make it a little bit bigger. So we have an API endpoint, and it's also already integrated in the Keptn CLI. So there will be a Keptn create secret command, or Keptn update, or Keptn delete secret command, where you can access this API. Let's take a look at Keptn create secret, for example. Just looks like that. You give it a secret name, and this might be familiar to everyone using Kubernetes. You pass in the payload with a from literal flag, and there you can put in the key and value pairs. For example, I have here a secret which has a key username and the value Bernd. If I execute this command, we have here the message that it was successfully created, and I can talk a little bit how it is implemented. As I mentioned before, only the Kubernetes backend is supported right now. So how does this look like on the Kubernetes side? Here I have, let's make it a little bit bigger. If it's possible. No, you zoom in, yes. So, is it okay? I guess so.
Yes. Yeah, my screen is a little bit small, but I guess it's fine for the others, hopefully.
Okay. So we've created a secret called my secret, and we should also find the secret here on the Kubernetes side. I think it's on the configuration secrets, and here we have the my secret, and it has the key value pair username Bernd. Okay, nothing special so far. You would have expected there's no secret on the Kubernetes side. Okay, what's also happening behind the scenes is that specific roles get created. Let's take a look at the roles. So we should see here a role in the Keptn namespace, which is called Keptn secrets default read. So this has something to do with the configuration of the secret service. As I told you before, secrets can be bound to a scope, and we can configure the secret service via a config map and take a look at these scopes, which are currently supported by the secret service. So it will read a YAML file, which looks like this. This is the default configuration, so to say, of the secret service. It has just a single scope, which is called Keptn default. So if you don't provide a scope here from the CLI via minus scope, this default scope Keptn default will be used. And in the background, so each scope can have different capabilities. First, the Keptn scope, as it is right here, only has one capability which is called Keptn secrets default read, and yeah, as the name suggests, it only permits read access to secrets in that scope. So this one here actually matches then with the roles created by the secret service on the Kubernetes side. So here we see roles, and here it is. If we take a look at what's in that role, we see, okay, this role is for managing secrets. It only provides a read access, a get, to those secrets. And there's one resource bound to this role, which is my secret, of course, because that's the secret we've created. So if I, for example, create another secret, I don't know, secret 2, I should see here that the role gets updated with an additional resource name, secret 2. So now also this secret can be read via this role because it was configured by the secret service. And we can, of course, delete the secret again, and then it should disappear from that list again. Now, what's now important for services who want to actually read the secrets or make use of it, they need, of course, be deployed with a service name which is bound to these roles. So this way you can right now make sure your service can access the secrets. I have no example service available right now, but this is just a matter of configuration how you deploy your service. If you want to edit your scopes, it's currently only possible via this config map here. So if you want other capabilities, for example, you've created a secret, my secret, for example, but you have services which might be in the need of reading and updating the secret, you just create an additional capability here. And this will then also be created as a role on the Kubernetes side, and the service who needs to update or read the secrets needs to have a role binding role binding to this role, which might have the name Keptn secrets default update read, or however you want to name it. Yeah. So currently there's no API for managing scopes. Maybe this will come later. You need to, for now, you need to edit this here by hand. If we are in a need to provide an API also for that, there will be an endpoint where you can say Keptn create secret scope, and it will then take care of creating the entries in this file, or however it will be implemented. I don't know right now. So any questions to this aspect?
I would have 2 questions. So this is basically a convenience function to not have kind of to automate the generation of the config map, and also the what was it, the service role or something, whenever you create the secret.
Well, it's just the default configuration. The secret service needs some sort of configuration to know which roles to create and how they map to the backend. Per default, you only have this one, but you can, of course, extend it like however you need it. So it's not like a convenience function or how you call it, but it's just a concept how the secret management on an abstract level works. Like if you have Vault, for example, you have namespaces. If you have something from Databricks or something, it's called also scopes there, I think. And also it's abstracted away via scopes and capabilities here. You can think of capabilities like ACLs, for example.
Mm-hmm.
ACL. So basically they are ACLs for roles. So the Keptn default role has one ACL, which only provides you with read access.
Okay, but if I add a secret via kubectl, it won't be picked up by this.
No.
So you have to create a secret with the Keptn Sli.
Yes.
Okay.
Won't be picked up. So the nice thing is, from a user point of view, you don't you create secrets always in the same way, depending on which secret backend is implemented in the secret service. It's doing its things in the background, but from a user point of view, it will always be the same. You don't need to bother with that. There's also, of course, Swagger UI for that, which unsurprisingly looks like this here. So you can play a little bit with that to create, update, or delete secrets using that API. So now the question may arise, how do I, for example, if we have now a Vault, like an existing secret management system, for example, Vault, how can I write or extend the secret service to also support this secret management system? Well, as I mentioned, right now only Kubernetes is supported. Can we make this bigger? I don't know. What's the shortcut of making it bigger? Control Shift plus. No.
But I'm not sure which operating system you are.
Try maybe Control and with your mouse wheel.
No.
I think you have to activate that in the settings of Golang. I've recently stumbled upon that. So settings.
Okay. Settings.
Then editor.
Mm-hmm.
Then general. And then the item at the very top. So change from
Thank you.
Control plus mouse wheel.
Nice. Okay. Right here you see the default implementation of the secret backend of the secret service, which only deals with the Kubernetes backend. If you extend the secret service, the only thing you need to do is here in the backend package implement another interface, which is called secret backend, unsurprisingly. And here you put your logic. For example, you have a Vault backend, put your logic, which is dealing with Vault in the background. So that's clear. And you need to provide the initialize method, which will be called for registering your backend. So in this case, this Kubernetes backend here called just Kubernetes will be registered in the registry of the secret service. And what do you register? You tell the secret service how to create your secret backend. So you basically give it a factory function to create your backend. For the Kubernetes backend, it's of course creating the Kubernetes Go client, reading the configuration from the cluster, and providing the API here in the implementation of the Kubernetes secret backend. So it's really easy to extend the service. Only need to implement the secret backend interface and provide initialize function here. And then you can basically, based on an environment variable, choose which backend the secret service shall use based on the string here, which you use for registering the backend. So I think that's from my side. If there's no question, I will stop my sharing. And thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Bernd. I saw that Josh also joined for today's meeting, and I think there are no more items on the. Where do I have my agenda? I think I messed up and I've closed my window. But anyway, since Josh is also here, I will promote you also to the panelists. Maybe we can briefly, once he's back, maybe we can ask him how we could actually deal with the spell bot in the best way to make it work, kind of to make it only work for strings and not also for other parts like variables, variable names, and these kind of things. Josh, can you hear us? Are you with us here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So I wanted to share again my document, but I have so many browser tabs and I kind of lost it. So our idea, what we've discussed, and we also discussed briefly yesterday on Slack, was that the spell bot is the spell checker is very verbose and very kind of aggressive when it comes to checking for misspelled words. And we were thinking about if we can kind of limit it and shrink it to only take strings that are actually not variable names and not other names of packages and these kind of things. If there is any way, otherwise we would probably first kind of use it for documentation and the tutorials, markdown files, and all these kind of files. But if there's any way, maybe you can help us out here. You're on mute.
Right, sorry. Normally the easiest thing you can do is either exclude files entirely or exclude patterns. So one pattern that you could, for instance, exclude would be the beginning of the line to the first quote, or the beginning of the line, or the last quote to the end of the line. And it might work, assuming that your average line only has one string. I'm not sure. We could definitely try that and see what it looks like. I don't know how often you have like more than one string on a line.
Yes, we have that actually. I think there will not be 100% solution for that, especially if we think of different programming languages. We don't just have Golang, we also have TypeScript and so on.
Right.
And we should also work for Bash and so on. I think it would be a more, should be a more flexible solution, which is maybe not detecting 100% of all errors, but nonetheless, a bunch of them. I think we need to try it out, how it behaves.
I mean, the other thing is I can offer you the ability to actually talk to the bot now. And so instead of it being verbose and being annoying each time you make a commit, it's verbose first time and you talk to the bot and it updates the commit. And as long as you fetch in that extra commit, maybe that's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be only once, and then like for the next commits, it would know that this word is also now excluded. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, this has to be decided by more development.
For example,
related,
can I share my screen for a moment?
Sure.
What I mean, so I'm writing this issue where we could work on this, ideally with the help of Josh. For example, in our source code, we have, for example, this import statement, which is, I think, from a development point of view, totally fine. You have import K8S error, abbreviation for that. I think that's fine. However, the spell check is complaining now that via some logic, I don't know which algorithm is used here, but it's kind of confused about this part of that line, and you need to add now this to the ignored file. So do some things to fix that. And we came across several of these situations in a couple of days. Maybe this aspect should really be not that strict.
So the easiest thing for this example, because you're going to run into it a lot, would be to add K8S as a pattern. And then the bot, instead of seeing SERR, would just see ERR. And I think that's actually a word, and therefore there wouldn't actually be anything for it to do.
Okay, and the next time it's called K7, and that's the same thing then.
Right, well, you can adjust the pattern so that instead of looking for K8S, it looks for K/DS.
Yeah.
And because you now have a pattern, you can see how to adjust it.
Mm-hmm.
I specifically have a pattern that I often use, which is the letter V and then numbers. Because especially in Kubernetes lands, there are a lot of things that have like alpha V3 or alpha V5. Mm-hmm. And alpha is a word, and the V suffix thing is also a thing. And by virtue of just adding this one little pattern, it causes things to just sort of work quite well. But it's...
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to...
It could be that the longer we are using this thing, all these problems will kind of fade out because we now have a pattern for everything. But I'm still not 100% convinced that checking those stuff is even helpful. I don't know.
But might it be a good approach to, let's say, only do this the check for user-facing components, and let's say exclude the event broker and exclude I don't know, like the Helm service or whatever, and only have it for the CLI and have it only for some parts that include user-facing code.
Yes, I also thought that
on this we can work with this when we have also the pod functionality, but it's just an idea.
I also thought about such a thing. Maybe this would be good. For example, if you know, okay, this source code file now contains strings which will be presented to the user, then you put just a command, a tag, or an annotation to that file at the top or somewhere, which is known to the spell checker. And if it's present, it will check this specific file for spelling actions. For all other files, for all other source code files, it will do basically nothing. But those files which have this special word in it, as a annotation, command, whatever, are considered for spell checking. So would be one solution.
That you can do today not by internal to the file, but there's a file called only, and that takes patterns. So just as there's an excludes file, if you have, as soon as you have an only file, only things that match those lines will be checked. So if you had in the only file you had say /UI/ in it, then it will only look for files that are in a UI directory, for instance, and it will ignore everything else. And if you have a second line that offers /CLI/, then it will look for either things that are in the UI directories or in CLI directories. So that is achievable today with a line or two of text. Now it is external to the file, but that means that the spell checker doesn't have to read all the files to decide, oh, I shouldn't be looking at this file at all. And it's centralized.
Yeah, one way we could try. And I would put these things, for example, in the CLI code where a lot of strings are presented to the user, but I would not put it like for internal packages which will never get to the end user, and if there are special abbreviations or something like that, doesn't matter so much. We could try that, yes.
I mean, I can give you like half an hour on Slack right after this call to try and set you up with a set that works for somebody.
Cool. Bernd, do you want to take this?
Yes, I can take this.
Cool. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, then I will nevertheless submit this issue. Then at least we have a issue to work on to make a branch and so on. And we can also use this for discussions on even other solutions which might come up.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. And then I see we got another item on the agenda list, and I think we still have like 10 minutes left. So actually this, I think I added this as the backlog for next week, and I actually also want to keep, I want to keep it for next week. Raj, anyway, I would just promote you also to panelist, or there's one. Allow you, because what we actually, yeah, I think he's joining. But what we actually want to have is, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, we kind of distributed the developer and community meetings.
I thought the fourth Thursday is the only meeting where. Okay.
Pardon?
So I thought this is the so I thought I can show this in today's meeting. So you send me.
Yeah. Is it also possible to show it in next week's meeting?
Yeah, sure.
That would actually be appreciated, since we are kind of focusing on the core parts of Keptn in one meeting, and then more on the Keptn ecosystem in the other meeting. And I think this contribution fits perfectly into the next meeting. So I will keep this. I will kind of edit here, but I will just move it to the backlog for next meeting.
Okay, sure.
So we have it. But thanks for being proactive and adding this to the document. But I think with this we can close this. And Bernd and Joshua, thanks for taking up this or picking up this item. Yeah. See you all next week in the meeting, and then we will take a look at the Rush contribution, and also another community contribution to the CLI. Are there any more questions or talking points that we should take before closing? Okay, then thanks everyone. Have a nice evening, and see you all soon. Take care. Bye.
See you. Bye.